And I was about to spar, before I was about to spar Tank, he was sparring this big boy. A heavyweight boy. And Tank hit that nigga, he hit him so hard that he was on the top of the ropes just like this. Oh!
The speed, Gervonta Tank Davis, if he put on the right weight, put the right weight on, and, have the lean muscle right, he could look fantastic somewhere in the mid-150s, dare I say, close to 160 against Jake Paul.
In shocking unseen footage, Gervonta Davis reportedly drops a heavyweight sparring partner while preparing for his upcoming clash with Jake Paul. The clip shows Tank's signature power and flawless timing as he lands a brutal left hand that ends the session instantly. Fans are calling it proof that Davis's speed and precision remain unmatched, even against fighters much bigger than him. Showbiz, the adult, predicts that Gervonta Davis will come in around 154 lbs for his fight against Jake Paul, dismissing claims that Tank will be too small to compete. According to him, Davis has previously walked around at that weight, meaning it won't be unfamiliar territory. He even adds that Tank has experience training at 160 lbs, so the jump isn't as drastic as people think. Showbiz emphasizes that Davis has spent years sparring with much larger opponents, sharpening his timing, reflexes, and counterpunching against heavier hitters. That experience, combined with his explosive power and fighting IQ, gives him a clear edge in this matchup. Confident in his prediction, Showbiz insists that Jake Paul's size advantage won't save him once Tank lands clean, boldly declaring that Gervonta Davis will knock out Jake Paul with ease.
50s, dare I say, close to 160 against Jake Paul. And dare I say it, I think that's the right thing for him to do. Why? I've been saying this. Number one, fighters need to start fighting closer to their walk-around weight. They're just healthier that way. They're just better and healthier that way. I mean, I know it's probably surprising them too. Like, that was the best I've seen Terrence Bud Crawford. Lamont Roach, he's fighting Pitbull at 140, coming from 130 and a pit stop at 135. You have Shakur Stevenson talking about fighting Teofimo Lopez. They're very close to making that fight at 140. And I think all of them would look their best there, especially Roach, where he ain't knocking nobody out down there at 130. But I bet you he'll be swatting far more at 140. Gervonta Tank Davis, I think, just like the others, fighting closer to your walk-around weight is just going to be one of the better performances for Gervonta Tank Davis. He's going to learn a lot about his body. He's going to learn a lot about himself and where he should campaign moving forward. Maybe even meeting Roach in that rematch at 140 himself. Also, another reason why I think it behooves him to come in knocking at 160 pounds is because of Jake Paul. It's not like Tank is going to dodge every punch Jake Paul throws, all right? Some of those going to land, and more than likely it's going to land on his guard. Tank is going to have his guard up. We need for him to be solid enough, his foundation and his base solid enough, so when Jake Paul hits him with those shots, he doesn't go flying around the ring.
Tank has reportedly been sparring with much bigger opponents to prepare for the Jake Paul showdown. But this isn't new for him. From the start of his career, Davis has tested himself against heavier fighters, using those sessions to sharpen his timing and precision. With his incredible power and highlight IQ, handling larger opponents has never been a problem for him. In the latest training clips, Gervonta Davis looks sharper, leaner, and more focused than ever before. Each punch he throws carries a mix of power and precision that only comes from years of discipline. His footwork is light, yet his movements carry authority. Those watching him prepare can tell that every strike against the heavy bag is part of a calculated rhythm. Observers notice the intensity in his eyes and the fluid coordination between his speed and power. The footage alone speaks volumes about how serious Davis is about this fight. Experts across the boxing scene point out that his condition looks better than it has in years, describing him as ready for war. The combination of power, timing, and ring control that Tank displays during camp has reignited conversations about how dangerous he remains at the elite level. 1 of the biggest talking points leading up to this clash is the weight difference. Some believe Jake Paul's natural size gives him an edge, but others argue that Tank's skill will erase any physical disadvantage. Many fans wonder if the gap in size could make things difficult for Davis. Yet, those who have followed his career know he's often sparred and fought men heavier than him. Supporters defend him by saying, "Boxing isn't decided by weight alone, but by timing, discipline, and technical intelligence." Tank's defensive style and counter-punching ability make him a puzzle for anyone, regardless of their size. His team remains confident that his experience dealing with pressure and movement will allow him to turn Jake's size against him. For Davis, this fight is not about proving strength, it's about proving skill.
It is happening. WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child, Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135-pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight. And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves. And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional record.
6 Lamont Roach has been vocal about his dissatisfaction with Davis, claiming unresolved issues between them. His recent remarks have stirred conversation as analysts notice a hint of bitterness in his tone. They suggest that Roach's frustration stems less from genuine conflict and more from envy over Tank's success and financial reach. The two once shared a level of respect, but now Roach's words sound like they carry a personal edge. Observers think he struggles to accept how Davis continues to dominate headlines and earn massive paydays while others remain in the background. Boxing commentators believe that when money and fame enter the picture, rivalries become emotional. For Davis, however, these distractions don't seem to matter. He stays quiet and focused, letting his training do the talking.
Off rip, the question is direct. Reportedly, Tank's gonna make $40 million around there to fight Jake Paul. Would you do the same thing if you were in this situation? And he's like, actually, this is what I explained before. You're beating around the bush. It's really a yes or no. I would do it. I would take the 40 mil, or I wouldn't take the 40 mil. But let's listen to this long, drawn-out explanation.
There's about $40 million that he's going to get paid. If you were in his shoes, wouldn't you do the same thing?
See, now, this is something that I explain and express, and I hope everybody gets. That opportunity is an opportunity that you probably cannot pass up. But it's about how you handle it. It's about how you go about it. A lot of people don't know that he actually exercised his rights to the rematch, so that contractually binds us to a fight. You cannot breach that unless you do what you have to do to handle the business to be like, okay, well, we mutually agree to let you move on and or swindle around and fight Jake Paul for this money. If you think I'm going to sit back by the wayside and sit there and be like, well, even though I'm contracted to fight this guy for this amount of money on this certain day, I'm just going to sit and be cool with, oh, he might not ever fight me, and he's going to go fight and get paid and get this money, and I'm not supposed to get anything.